What's up? What's up? Truck talk. Truck talk with the concrete yogi. Let's go. I'm excited. It's just such a silly concept, but I'm in the truck. It's cold outside, guys. It's fine. It's fine. Truck talk. Today's topic is perception of the practice. Perception of the practice. And this is one that could go to either the teachers, the practitioners, people that don't even know about yoga at all. Perception of the practice would really be something that could divide a lot of people. So let's talk about this. If I have perception that the practice is very physical, that I say it's stretching, and I did have this false perception for most of my life. The majority of my early years, I only thought it was stretching and exercise because that is how it's sold and pushed to the masses. So much. So I understand that. I understand that that's where people start. I get it. That's where we all start. And that's kind of where we're bound to in the beginning anyway, is we believe that if it is going to be some kind of practice, then I'm bringing my body to it. Well, then it's going to be it's a physical practice. Even if I was to be sitting there and listening and taking notes, if I have that perception of it being a physical practice and being something on the surface, then that's where it's going to stay. That's where my notes are going to stay. That's where my attention is going to stay. But if I have a perception of the practice being more subtle, then I am going to approach that practice, right? I am going to seek that practice. The physical practice isn't going to be enough anymore. The references to the physicality aren't going to be enough. They're not going to cut it anymore because I am now perceiving the practice as more, and I'm going to be seeking out more. The same goes for how we study. If I'm thinking of the practice as physical, then I'm going to study the physical practice. And I've been talking about this the last few days too. And the stories was how if that is where you are in your practice, by all means, stay there and look to advance. That's amazing because it's going to bring about the same amount of focus, the same amount of inquisitive nature towards a topic. And in that we find that we can start to better ourselves. And if it starts with physical, then absolutely go for it. Study the anatomy, study range of motion, study the muscles, study the connective tissues, study the skeletal structure. Even go as far as to study the systems of the body, the endocrine, the lymphatic systems, the central nervous system. You study all these things if you truly believe that it is just physical. And then whether you're a practitioner or a teacher, your experiences or your ability to share a certain experience is going to be enriched. So if it's physical, fine. But if you do start to see it as more subtle, then you're going to start to study the subtle aspects of the practice. And maybe you see it as subtle but modernized, and you want to quantify it as meditative practice. That's fine too, because there's science involved there, and it's the same exact science. So we study the mind. We study the different chemicals within the mind. We study the different layers of the mind that have been spoken of by the modern day psychologists. So we can approach it in a modern context and still gain the same meditative glories. We don't have to involve the ancient aspects of the practice as much at first. Should we eventually? Absolutely. Of course, we should pay homage to where it comes from, and especially if it's in a certain language or with certain imagery or festivals, then we should at least know them. We might not be celebrating them all, but we should at least know of some of them. And when we study the subtle body at the ancient level, at the Vedic level, and we get closer to what the yoga practice was always meant to be, then we study things like the mind, the intellect, the ego, the shukshma sharira, the subtle body. So manas and the indriyas, the senses, and the bodhi, the chitta, the ahankar. All of these things are just layers of that subtle body, and we can start to study them. We can analyze them. We can teach of them. Does that make us move the body less? No, goodness, no. I think that, I'm kind of in a way, living proof of that. I love the physical practice. I adore the handstands, the inversions. Even now, I'm really getting back into my split practice and working on getting my hips down comfortably and being able to kind of sustain a more healthy split practice. Again, get back to that. So the physicality never has to be divided from the philosophy and from the spirituality and from the science of the practice, but we should know enough of it to have that be the forefront of the practice. So to bring this full circle, to wrap a nice pretty bow on it, and a cherry on top. I don't know if those don't work together. Sure, yeah, they do. There's a bow and a cherry. All right. It would be to say, if we are teaching, if we are practicing the subtle practice, then we are going to study the subtle science. We're going to study the subtle body, and that integration of the moving of the body has more glories there than I can even express to you guys. I know that people have experienced it alongside me when I'm teaching, because I honor that so vehemently and passionately. But I know that I felt it when I'm around other people, and I don't even have to be on a mat, but when you're around other people that look to have that heightened layer of conversation, that more in-depth approach to the practice than just staying at the surface and keeping it our maybe opinionative or our perspective of the practice as our truth can really hold us back. It just ends up holding us back. So you might say, I know that there's a subtle practice, but that's too much right now. I hear some of that sometimes, or I'll get to that when it happens, or then we have to really be able to take a step back and say, then what am I doing? What part of this that I'm doing is yoga? And if I do label yoga as just, or even if I label my spiritual practices, whatever it might be to you, as one component of that, then am I really fulfilling that the grand scheme of things? Am I really looking at the entirety of the practice, the entirety of the tradition? Or am I just picking and choosing what my ego likes, what the asmita, right, out of the kleshas? If you know the kleshas, the obstacles, the asmita, the childish, the possessive part of the ego that wants to be right, that needs to be acknowledged and validated, and it needs to have the things that it likes and avoid the things that it doesn't like. Well, if you're on the yoga path, those two things, they kind of knock. So if we notice that we're avoiding something, it might be the thing we want to approach. And if we notice that we've been approaching one other aspect of the practice a little bit too much, we might want to start to dial that back. Or if we are advancing in that practice, if we are focusing on that practice rather, then advance. Be involved, right, in that advancement of the practice. So the person that, and I know this from my students, I know this from other teachers, I know that this, from my travels all over the country, I've met so many different teachers that have embodied this, where they are in that grindy mode, where they're more physical, and I've been there, and it's like, you got to give me a minute, because I'm still trying to get through the primary series, or I'm still trying to get through, I'm trying to gain some kind of inversion practice. I feel the meditation's there, I know that it's there, but I'm still trying to gain physically. Maybe I've been dealing with an injury, and once that injury's healed and I feel comfortable, then I can actually sit with a notebook and approach these things. So I know that when I talk to that person later, that posture's been attained. That practice has been accomplished because they were putting that same amount of energy or effort that they would have been into their studies, into growth, into expression, okay, into a karmic reaction, right? I put in the action, there's the reaction, right? Karma means action. So as long as I'm putting in the actions necessary to do something, to attain some higher level, it could be at any limb, but it's important to always be reversing our standpoint, flipping our standpoint, and kind of questioning ourselves. I make these videos, guys, to say these things to myself, right? I am a student first. I am not sitting here preachy. I'm not enlightened. I'm not awakened. I'm basically making a video so that when I watch this later, I remind myself that I have to take a step back and remind myself, what do I see this practice as? Is it philosophical? Is it spiritual? Is it scientific? Is it subtle? Is it of a much more subtle and unmanifest practice? Or am I too involved in the physical right now? You make that check, you take that check of perspective, then you make the change necessary that you know is needed to be there. That, yeah, there's so much in this physical world that we do have to be involved in, but my practice is not one of those things. My practice is one of those more subtle things, more precise, and much more glorious when it's really being taught and felt and enjoyed. So there's my rant and ramble. There's the truck talk with the concrete yogi. I gotta just like, maybe I'll like stitch a picture of the truck at the end. I don't know how to do that, guys. Come on. That's way over my head. Just picture a big truck. No. An 18-wheeler. I'm in one of those trucks that has wheels, like the wheels get delivered on another truck. Like, that's the size of this truck. This truck moves. I could load other vehicles. I could probably fit 10 to 12 other vehicles in the back of this truck. That's one. It's one of those, like, cranes load this truck. No, my goodness. Oh boy. All right. Truck talk with the concrete yogi. That's it. That's my time for the day. Yeah, a little bit longer form, a little bit maybe longer winded. I don't know. I hope not. But I think that it's something that is a topic. You know, it's a topic. It's something that we should be discussing amongst ourselves. Like, you shouldn't just hear it from me and be like, yeah, no. Like, no. Yogis should be discussing this. Is it philosophical? Is it physical? Is it spiritual? Is it subtle? Is it manifest? Is it unmanifest? What the practice means to you is going to be how you're going to practice it. It's that simple. So there you go, guys. That's it for me. Have a great day. Peace. Love you.